I assume that your ideal type of boyfriend has changed after being around Japanese men for so long. Wow. Woo. Hey, I like this question. Okay. I will be as truthful as I can get. The answer to this question, this assumption is Japanese people are really racist to black people in Japan. 5 lucky winners could stand a chance to win a free pair of tickets to Japan. Channel Chilo here once again. As always, if you see me this excited, it's either of two things: the weather, which is actually very cozy today, and secondly, guys, I'm always very excited when I get to answer questions that are directly from you guys. Put up a question tab on my community tab, telling you guys to send in your assumptions about Japan. This is very particular to me, or this is very, this is dear to me, because I remember before coming to Japan, the trailer load of assumptions I had about Japan. So I decided to do this video to react to your assumptions, indirectly answering the questions you have. So that's just what today's video is all about. So let's get right into today's video. And the very first assumption or question, okay, this is an assumption, actually says, I used to assume that to study in Japan as a foreigner was almost impossible because of language barrier. Wait, I need to snack on something. The last video like this, guys, you guys really enjoyed that I was snacking, and I think snacking makes it look less of an interview. That leads me to Bokksu, guys. This video is sponsored by Bokksu. So guys, Bokksu is a premium Japanese snack subscription service, emphasis on subscription service. So they deliver original assortments of Japanese snack and tea pairings to wherever you are, and it is shipped directly from Japan. Now in each box you get, there are different, there are actually plenty snacks. I'm going to put a video of these as I am talking, hopefully. But see, there are actually different snacks. It's a lot, it's not just one. You get to experience Japan. This is tea, this is obviously tea, and you know that thing people always say about Japan being very healthy, Japanese people, their food, their snacks being healthy. This is definitely something you don't want to pass on, because this is you enjoying snack and still having the healthy parents. Now guys, another very amazing thing, do you know, when I heard about this company, I was like, people, they get ideas, shao. Now another very beautiful thing about Bokksu is that they operate a monthly theme. Now what do I mean? Every single month, guys, they share a cultural aspect of Japan to you through their snack and leaflets. Now as you can see, I said this is different snacks, right? One thing is that the very first time that you receive your Bokksu, you're going to receive it with a Seasons of Japan book. I don't know if you're seeing it. I'll try and put a video, a Seasons of Japan booklet. This is literally teaching you about seasons in Japan. If you've been meaning to learn about Japan, this is an opportunity. Now after that very first box you receive, which teaches you about seasons of Japan and explains each snack in the box, subsequent times they give you another different theme. So it's not the same thing every month. Every single month they teach you a different cultural aspect of Japan. This is a brand that really cares about people who live abroad and really want to experience Japan. So this is the juicy part, the giveaway part. So guys, Bokksu makes such a memorable and perfect gift for people or loved ones in your life who appreciate Japanese snacks and culture, especially during a time like this that it's not really easy to travel around the world for obvious reasons. If you know someone that loves Japan, the culture, you could gift the person a box of Bokksu every single month. So guys, now not only would you be gifting these loved ones, it could even be yourself, because you could be your loved one. I mean, not only would you be gifting this person a very beautiful box of Bokksu, which is already awesome, you would technically be gifting the person a free ticket to Japan. Now this is it. Bokksu is currently having, they're planning a giveaway whereby if you subscribe to Bokksu before the 31st of December, you are automatically qualified, to be in this giveaway. Now they are going to be picking 5 lucky winners to win a set of tickets to Japan. See, I don't stand rubbish. I don't stand rubbish, so you could stand a chance. The person you're gifting could stand a chance if you subscribe before the 31st of December. So guys, I'll include the link in my description box so that you can check out the terms, the condition, and other modes of entry if you're really interested in this giveaway, right? So guys, if you're interested, please use my code Chilo10. It's just like spelling Chilo Talks, but this time around it's double L, Chilo10, and I'll leave a link also in the description box. And if you use my code, you get 10% off, so you get to save like $47 to get your own authentic Japanese snack from Bokksu. Guys, don't miss out on this very amazing snack journey, because this is what it is. It's a snack journey through Japan. So back to today's video. Don't forget guys, the link is in the description box. You people should help me select snack. Which one will I snack now? Like I'm spoiled for choice. Like which one? I think I'll go for this one. So let's try this. This is my first time trying it. Trust me. You already know that my facial expression used to say the truth. So let's do this. I like this. I can't try and talk. Oh. This is good. I think I'll take this to the lab because it's quite a lot in the box. I can't finish it alone. I'll take it to the lab and share with my lab members. Now back to the assumptions, right? Before biscuit to enter my head, I used to assume that to study in Japan as a foreigner was almost impossible because of language barrier. Scholastica, I don't know if I should call names, but yes, I had the same assumption. Like, take it from me too. I remember the first time I heard about mixed Japanese scholarship, I was like, how? Like, from where to where? How am I supposed to cope and all that? But one thing that really helped me was I knew a handful of people. I mean, there were not so many, but at least there were quite a number of people, Nigerians, that were studying in Japan. And so sometimes seeing someone that goes through the process gives you hope. Japan currently is going through a phase of trying so hard to open up their borders to foreigners. They are gradually realizing how homogeneous the country is, and so they are putting things in place that will attract foreigners. And one of them is some universities starting international program that are being taught in English. I've been here for 3 years. I finished my master's and I'm now doing my PhD because I'm being taught in English. So what you just do is check out for universities that do English programs for the course of your study. And the next one says, I'm curious to know if you speak Japanese, and if not, has it been difficult living and interacting with others because of this? I would love to visit Japan someday, but I can't help but think it's worth knowing some Japanese. I assume it will be helpful in better experiencing life there and getting around. Is that the case? You're not far from the truth, right? Now, A is 70 and A is 90 at B. And the case here is, if you speak very fluent and Japanese, you may get to enjoy Japan 90%. If you do not speak fluent Japanese and you're a very call it forward thinking, or you're a very friendly person and you have a good persona and you have friends around that are willing to help, you may get to enjoy Japan 70%. So you can see 70 is A, 90 is A. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And the honest truth is, before you know what's happening, you start picking up basic survival Japanese. So before you know it, unconsciously you start picking up survival ones like konnichiwa, sumimasen, daijoubu desu, and gomen nasai. You start picking up very, very little subtle survival Japanese. You just have to be forward. You just have to, hello, my name is Choma. Like, you just have to be that person that doesn't let the language keep you down. You will see people as enthusiastic as you are that want to communicate with you. I think I'm dwelling too much on questions. I'll try to be fast now. I've always assumed, the next one says, I've always assumed that Japanese people are nice and smile all the time, even if they don't mean it. How hard is it to be employed as, this is 2-in-1, how hard is it to be employed as a non-Japanese person, especially from Africa? All the best, sis. Keep making the videos. So much love from Ethiopia. I love you too. Thank you for the kind words. Okay, your first assumption is very correct. is extremely correct. They smile even when they don't mean it. Now, there's a good part about it. It's really good up to 90%, but the problem I have with the remaining 10% of it not being good is that you don't know when you offend someone, and you're human. We are all human beings. You unconsciously and unintentionally offend someone, even in your friendship, even in the relationships you have in the lab. So you smiling doesn't make me apologize, right? It doesn't help, and I may keep doing it, and before you know it, you affect a relationship or a friendship that was very beautiful. Can you just tell me how you feel? Let's trash this once and for all and not smile. So yeah, they really smile all the time. Your question, how hard is it to be employed as a non-Japanese, especially as an African? The reason I will just touch about this, especially one thing with Japan is that what is applicable to foreigner A is applicable to foreigner B. Now, how hard is it? I really cannot say it is hard or simple. It's the same thing in the whole world. There's no country that will come out now and tell you it is 100% easy. That's the truth. But what I will say for sure is I have seen a handful of Africans, or let's say foreigners, that are gainfully employed after study here. I have also seen a handful that are not gainfully employed. It also depends on what the person studies. It also depends on maybe if what you study is a market that needs the Japanese language. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It also depends on so many things. Now, I used to think Japan wasn't a place to go because of language barrier, distance between Nigeria and Japan. This is my assumption too. I remember hearing Japan and I was like, is that not the end of the world? Is that not the end of the earth? This definitely was my assumption too, and I completely understand. Yeah, Japan is very far from Nigeria, and I'm not going to sit down here and lie. In my travel vlog back to Nigeria and back to Nigeria and back to Japan, I told you how many hours. I think I spent nothing less than 23 to 24 hours on air. This is probably minus, this is probably even minus layover and all that. Japan is actually very far. So yeah, it is far, but I mean, nothing good comes easy, right? Nothing good comes easy. It's not only Japan that is far. Australia is far. So many of these other countries are far, but people still go there. Language barrier, I've already touched on that. I have two assumptions. This person said, informed by what I've seen in the movies. Do you know, I think I'm strange. I'm the only person that really didn't watch Japanese movies before coming to Japan, and I'm not lying. So when I see people say I watch Japanese movies, I'm like, am I the only strange person? Please tell me in the comment section if you watch Japanese movies or not. But this person said, I assume Japanese eat way too much noodles, in bracket ramen, and I assume that Japanese are very orderly people when it comes to cooking. Yes, they eat so much noodles. They eat so much ramen. I think the idea foreigners have is quite different. Let me bring a balance to this picture. I actually even think Japanese people eat more of rice. I think in every food you will find a way to see rice, but it's not like in every food you'll find a way to see ramen. Now, noodles is quite different from ramen. They eat a lot of noodles in the sense that in that family of noodles, you see they eat ramen, they eat cup noodles. They have a lot of cup noodles, like different flavors here in Japan. Ramen, cup noodles. There's another one that is like rice stick, but it looks like noodles. You understand? So they eat a lot of that. But if I'm going to be honest, I feel like they eat more of rice than noodles. And about the second assumption, Japanese people are very orderly when it comes to queuing. Yes. One of my very first culture shock, will I say culture shock, or will I say one of the very first things I learned in Japan is the order. I made a video about that. I'll try and see if I can link all these things up as I mentioned them. Now, I was on the queue. I saw my friend, like a country mate, in front, and I was behind, right? So when I saw this person, like, I don't know what I call it, Niger spirit, or I just wanted to farm. And I was like, hello. I jumped the queue. You could see how the atmosphere in that place dropped. And guys, nobody told me. I went back to my position on the line. I'm like, no. So yes, they are very, very orderly. You could see a staircase that says up and down. And the down has no single person. But you see the up is crowded and people are just going orderly, queuing. Meanwhile, the down part is nobody's there. Like, next question says, from what I see on TV, wow, you guys really watch a lot of Japanese programs. I assume the food is the best. The transportation system, like trains and buses, is something out of a futuristic sci-fi movie. And the cities like Tokyo are big and glamorous and very clean. This is a lot of assumptions in one comment. Okay, let's break it down. The food is the best. Now, one thing I have come to realize is best is relative. You see, the way I crave Nigerian food, it may not be the same thing for you because you're not used to it. It depends on taste bud. Now, if you talk about it being healthy, I will not argue that one with you. Their food is very healthy, but it being the best, it's very relative to your taste bud. It's relative to what you are used to. Now, I come from a place that I'm used to spicy food. So when I first came, the first thing on my mind was not the food was the best, because their food is not really spicy. If the best you mean here is health wise, I give it to them. Transportation system is futuristic. Yes, their transport system is very, very amazing. It is smooth. Like, it's very hard for you to hear things like a train broke down. It like that. When it comes to technology, please, people should hands up for them. Like, give it to them. The city is big, glamorous, and clean. Yes, Japan is one of the cleanest countries in the world. Do you know, when I heard that another country, I think Singapore, is cleaner than Japan, I was like, I really need to go and see how which country can be cleaner than what I am seeing. Guys, Japan is very clean. Japan is very, very, very clean. It's as clean as if you mistakenly drop something, you feel so guilty and you pick it up. I'll say it's Tokyo. If you're talking about Tokyo, Tokyo is very populous. Tokyo is very populous, but when it comes to landmass, I'm not really sure if I give it to Japan. It's quite a small country. The next one says, this is quite long, but the assumption is that I wouldn't say it's an assumption of Japanese cooking, but a pleasant surprise. I was impressed with Japanese cooking, had a good experience working as a cook. I had an opportunity to work for a Japanese restaurant. It was a surprise after sampling different dishes. Took a liking to their cooking style and many different vegetable noodles. I came to learn that a lot of their meals revolve around fresh raw fish, which to my surprise I enjoyed. And the rice that was served was completely different and cooked quickly, stick together. Let me break this in before I forget. Now, yes, a lot of their food revolves around raw fish. And when you say raw fish, sometimes it looks irritating, but it's not the kind of raw. I don't know how to explain it, but yes, a lot of their food revolves around raw fish. Now, about the rice being different, yes, so you know, when I first came, I randomly just bought rice. I thought, all rice not rice. All rice should be rice. If you don't understand pidgin, I felt all rice should be rice. And I cooked this rice. It was sticking. Like, it cooked really fast. It was sticking. And I used the eye of Nigerian rice to put water to keep it and be doing other things. This thing was so watery, so mashed up. So subsequently, I had to ask other, Nigerians that were here, and they told me they don't buy the typical Japanese rice. They buy Thai rice. So that's what I now cook, because at least that one is not exactly same as what I'm used to in Nigeria, but it's actually not like the Japanese rice that is all sticky and mashed up. And the next one says, I really want to know this because I'm in Canada. Hello. And I have been hearing this from Japanese Canadian about beauty standards assumptions. Okay. Is it true that the Japanese prefer light-skinned or white people to dark-skinned people? Can you find out why? So the assumption here is that Japanese people prefer white-skinned and light-skinned to dark-skinned people. Wow, I would rather even assume that they are more fascinated with blacks, because it's a very homogeneous country and it's very common for you to see something that you don't see on a regular, and your first reaction is, do you understand where I'm coming from? So I would even assume that they are more fascinated with blacks than with white. I don't know if to use the word prefer. Maybe that's the one I'm not getting. Prefer. Talk about skinny. If you talk about skinny people, yes, I give it to you. Japanese people, because it's something that it's a more common norm here, the skinny ones are more popular. It's a beauty standard here. And I asked Shigma that question in the video where I said ask me questions that you want Japanese to answer, and he said he doesn't know, he just grew up to knowing that Japanese people just like being skinny. Next question. I heard Japanese people, the assumption, see, I will convert all your questions to assumptions because this question was about send in your assumption, guys. So I will assume that Japanese people are extremely respectful. Like if you step on their feet, they will rather apologize to you. How true is that? Very true. Is as true as your name and my name. Is very true. So personally, I like it 90% of the time. It's a very beautiful trick to coexisting and cohabiting. But the remaining 10% of the time, I feel like it is something that could affect friendships because you didn't get closure from, oh, I'm sorry about doing this, I'm sorry I said this to you, I'm sorry I stepped on you, because I didn't even know you were offended. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, but you are actually very correct. The assumption is very correct. Now this one says, hello dearie, always wanted to visit Japan or one of those countries, but always feel they aren't accepting of brown skin together with the language barrier, so I just stick to watching their beautiful movies. I actually like the fact that a lot of you watch Japanese movies. I'm motivated to start watching it. Well, not accepting. I think this will also depend on the environment and the cities. I'll be honest, I have not experienced a clear case of not being accepted. And when I say these things sometimes in gatherings, people tend to say, oh, maybe because I'm in the academic setting. And truth be told, I think that could be a factor. I'm in the academic setting, and a lot of people in the academic setting are kind of more open-minded because, I mean, you attend conferences with other countries, with other people, with, you know, blacks, with whites, with Caucasians. You get what I'm saying? But I understand your fears. I assumed Japan was smaller in size because it's an island. It's pretty big. Is it big? Japan is actually small. Oh. Their buildings are very tiny. They try to maximize everything in a space. The whole technology you need, best believe, will be in that space, but it's not very big. Same thing with their roads. You see a road that you just be praying in your heart, let this bus not jam this car. Sometimes the buses have to wait, let the car pass. Like the roads are very narrow. So I will not categorically say Japan is big. Oh. Another one says, I always thought Japanese people stick to the rules, very hygienic, very down to earth. So I assume Japan is very clean and neat and smells good. Also, maybe zero crime rate at all. Yeah, I've already answered clean. Zero crime rate. Yes, Japan is one of the safest countries in the world. And I always say this in most of my videos. That is one of the reasons why I love Japan. The serenity and the safety. It's funny that you have this assumption because I didn't have this assumption. When I first came, I used to be very scared about night. And I had some friends then tell me, calm down, you're in Japan. I used to think, why are you people exaggerating this thing? But now, chilo of 3 years, I'm not the one telling people, calm down, this is Japan. Okay, the next one says, I assume that your ideal type of boyfriend has changed after being around Japanese men for so long. Wow. Hey, I like this question. At the same time, it's very funny. Okay, I will be as truthful as I can get. The answer to this question, this assumption, is yes and no. Now, yes, in the sense that Japan is in itself is what affects, not Japanese men. I mean, how many Japanese men? Is it because, I think it's because most of my videos and my collaborations are with Japanese guys, but it's not like I'm around a lot of Japanese men. Now, yes, in the sense that living in Japan, I made a whole video about how I have changed living in Japan. There is something about traveling abroad. There's something about studying abroad. You are more self-aware. You are more exposed. You know, you meet people. There's a shift in your mindset. Now, living in Japan, not necessarily Japanese men, living in Japan has made me see life, you know, from a different perspective. I now believe that the dreams I had as a young girl about my dream kind of maybe boyfriend or husband or relationship is very possible. Like, is extremely possible, and there is no settling. Like, I'm at a point where I'm at a point where if it is not what I have, it's not what I want, I'm not settling. I'm not related to Japanese men, just related to me growing and seeing life from a different perspective here. I assume that Japanese people aren't very familiar with foreigners and may feel uncomfortable around them. Yes, I made a video about 3 types of Japanese people you should know, and I mentioned 3 categories. You definitely have that category of people. So there are exceptions. Now the uncomfortability actually is not you. That's the correction I want to make from my little experience. It's not necessarily you. The uncomfortability from most of them is about language. They are very, very skeptical and scared if you can understand what they are going to say. I assume that as a foreigner, especially a black girl, it is not easy to make friends and even to find a boyfriend in Japan. Wow. I'll answer friends because I can speak from experience. It is both not easy and both not difficult. Now, some people are actually drawn to you because you're black, so it could be very easy. But there are other people who will be very awkward, especially because they are just thinking, oh, how will I communicate? You know, the whole uncomfortability I just talked about. About the boyfriend part, I have seen quite a number of interracial relationships. I've seen blacks that marry Japanese, black women that marry Japanese men. So I have actually seen quite a number of people. I can't really say if it's easy or difficult. Now, what are the places tourists should look out for when visiting Japan? What are the places you have visited? What is the average height of a Japanese person? The average height of a Japanese person is average. I don't know if I answered it well. Japanese people are not so much on the big side. Of course, there are exceptions. Go out for, go to wear kimono, go to onsen. I talked about onsen. I know it's awkward, but go and try onsen. Try onsen. Cherry blossom. Try their food. How can I apply for working visa in Japan? I don't really know. If you get a job in Japan, definitely the company will sponsor your working visa. So if you want to know everything about getting a job or studying in Japan, please check out my video on 5 routes to move to Japan. It's more detailed. Yeah. Do you now eat sushi? I know where this question is coming from. My video of Nigerian trying Japanese food. Do I now eat sushi? No. Are you going home after studies? So your assumption is that MEXT scholarship tells us to go back after studying. I want to know before applying. No, MEXT doesn't tell you to go back after applying, but teachers training, you have to go back. But MEXT, normal masters, PhD and all, you are not, you're not compelled to go back. My assumptions are that Japanese would not be very receptive of black people, and you have to learn the language to be able to study at whatever level. I've answered the language part. Not receptive of black people. I think I've answered that. I've touched that briefly. Do the men ever fetishize you, or do you get stereotypical comments? So the assumption is that no, the men don't. I think I've answered this in a video, and maybe people think I'm like, they don't have a staring culture here. Japanese people will not even look at you too much. They will look at you from your head. If you ask a Japanese person, what did Choma wear yesterday? They don't know. They're not looking at you from your shoulder down. They're looking at your eye. So they don't. The Japanese men don't. They don't. Getting stereotypical comments, they don't. It's the same thing that someone assumed that they smile and they don't say. They're not very expressive people. So even if they have the stereotype to talk about, they will keep it in their mind and in their heart. They are not. Japan is a country with little or no vibes and could be boring. That is my assumption. Hey, I'm feeling vibes on vibes. Hey, they no fit kill my vibes. Hey. If you want Japan to kill your vibe, it will kill your vibe. If you don't want Japan to kill your vibe, it will not kill your vibe. That's the summary. Now the country is very, very quiet, and there's something about quietness, extreme quietness. It could dull your spirit. Now you have to create the kind of atmosphere you want in your workplace or in your house. But then again, it's your definition of boredom. What you see as boredom may be life for another person, right? Japanese people are really racist to black people in Japan because of the traditional cartoons. Anyway, love you. Love you too. See, I'm at the point in my life where I don't dismiss people's experiences. I have watched some black people's videos here on YouTube that came out to talk about their racism experience in Japan, and I'm not going to deny that that could be a possibility, but I will still stand that I have not experienced racism. So for me personally, I haven't experienced racism. Thank you guys so much for sending in your assumptions. I really hope they help you, get more perspective to how you feel. Also, guys, to those of you that watch Japanese movies and anime, can you recommend some for me and where I can find them? Is it on Netflix, or where can I find them? I think I have to start watching a lot of Japanese program because a lot of you guys watch them. See you next time on Chilo Talks. Bye for now, guys. Bye.